There's lots of good shit in Dark Souls that's easy enough to just look up the location and pick up off the ground. But then there are those that only have a chance to drop off of certain mobs. Now whether or not you're just looking for an armor set or want to rank up in one of those PvP covenants without actually doing PvP, I'm here to tell you the best places to go to farm anything that's actually worth farming. First, you want to gear up to have as much item discovery as possible. The first item to help with that is the Symbol of Avarice. This is a random chance drop off of any mimic chest. It constantly drains your health though, so you want to keep an eye on your health bar while you're farming. You also want to have the Gold Serpent Ring on. It increases your item find without any penalties. Next, you want to use the Crystal Sage's Rapier if you're either using an intellect build or fighting enemies that are easily staggered. Otherwise, you're going to have a rough time. If you really want to get serious, you can switch to a luck build, infuse your weapons with hollow, and die a few times to get some hollowing. Lastly, you want to go to patches and stock up on rusty coins. Pop these every time you rest at a bonfire or in between kills if they're hard to kill, like the Black Knights. Now that you're all geared up, let's start with the Black Knight armor set. Black Knights can be found in the Crucifixion Woods, the Smoldering Lake, and the Untended Graves. The last of which being the best place to farm at the final bonfire in the area. There's 4 Black Knights here in total, and you'll find the first one straight ahead and up these stairs. You'll notice 2 of them have battle axes and the other 2 have great swords. If all you want is one of those weapons, you want to try to single them out based on what they're using. The second Black Knight is patrolling in a circle, usually ending up in this clearing straight ahead. If you don't find him here, you want to turn around to where you fought the other Black Knight, because he might be sneaking up on you. The third Knight is just to the right of the clearing we found earlier. He's on a bit of a precarious ledge though, so it might be advantageous to pull him back a bit. The last Knight is to the left of the middle area instead. When you reach this little junction here, hook an immediate right and he'll be at the top of the stairs waiting for you. Return to the last bonfire rested at and repeat until you get your item. Next, there's the Cathedral Knight armor. Cathedral Knights can be found in the Cathedral of the Deep or the Consumed King's Garden. The best place to farm these is from Rosaria's bonfire. Just go outside and ignore all the slow maggot creatures. Cross this bridge, which you have the lever to activate right there. Take a right at the top of the stairs, and take the elevator down to the main area right here. You want to try to kill the deacons around the knights first, but sometimes it gets a little impatient trying to wait for them to get far enough away. You'll notice one of the knights will stay in his chair sitting out the fight. Make sure his chair doesn't break, or else he'll join the fight early and you'll have a rough time dealing with them both. Rinse and repeat until your item drops. Next is the Silver Knight armor. Silver Knights can be found in Irithyll and, well, it's kind of hard to avoid this spoiler, but and Orlando. In addition to their armor, they'll also drop shields and Proof of Concord Kept, which is used to rank up in the Blades of Darkmoon Covenant. While they use the swords and spears, they don't drop in the game, unfortunately. The best place to farm these items is from the Orlando bonfire. Directly from the bonfire, just run up the stairs and kill the 2 Silver Knights waiting at the top. There's also a Red-Eye Silver Knight further ahead, but he doesn't have any extra loot, so he's not worth killing and leaving you further away from the bonfire. So once the 2 are dead, just run back down and rest. Just keep doing the back and forth and you'll have your armor set in no time. Next is a spot where you can get quite a few items that are important. These being the Dark Armor, Pale Tongues, and Wolf's Blood Swordgrass. The Swordgrass is used to rank up in the Watchdogs of Farron Covenant, while Pale Tongues are used to rank up in the Rosaria's Fingers Covenant. They're also used with the same covenant to respec and recustomize your character. The bonfire you want to go to is the Farron Keep Perimeter. Directly ahead after spawning at the bonfire, you want to take a right out the door. Run up behind this tree and kill the Grue that's waiting behind it. All of these Grues are what drop the sword grasses. So if you want the Dark Armor or a Pale Tongue, take a left instead of a right and intercept the 2 Dark Rays before they reach the Grues. While it can be tough to take them both on at the same time, it can be equally tough to isolate one, so try not to worry about it too much either way. And then back to the Swordgrass, you're going to want to keep hugging the right wall and then fight this Grue over here with the dagger. Try not to get too close to the road or you might aggro the Dark Rays running up on the Grues in the middle. After that one, you want to run up the hill here and kill the Grue with the shield waiting for you. After he's dead, move up ahead and keep staying close to the right wall. Another Grue with a dagger should be waiting up here for you to kill him. Now you want to make your way back to the road where you can get the drop on these 2 shield Grues. Killing one won't get the attention of the other unless you move forward, so don't worry about that. Unless you happen to do this really fast, it's pretty much unavoidable to engage the 2 Dark Rays coming up the road. Fortunately, they'll most likely be weakened from fighting all the Grues, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem to kill them as well for a chance at some Pale Tongues. Before you return to the bonfire, make sure you loot any Grues that were killed by the Dark Raids. And happy Dark Tongue Swordgrass hunting. Most websites will probably tell you that the best place to farm the Deacon's Armor is from the Cathedral of the Deep. I've found that there's a better place to farm them though. Warp over to the Water Reserve bonfire in Irithyll. Climb your way up the giant ladder of doom, go out the door on your right, take an immediate right at the bottom of the stairs, and you'll get the drop on all these deacons while their backs are turned. Go down the road and kill every single one. Make sure you look behind you before you teleport back, because it takes a second for their loot to appear. The other advantage to farming here is that these particular deacons also have a chance to drop human dregs. These are used to rank up in the Eldritch Faithful Covenant, which is particularly useful for people like me who feel like shit for invading through this covenant. Unlike the other starting armor sets, the Deserter armor set, which is the starter set for thieves, drops off of certain mobs, particularly the Hollow Soldiers in Lothric. The best place to go for this is the Tower on the Wall bonfire in the High Wall of Lothric. You can choose to kill either the Knight or the Thief first, it really doesn't matter which. But you will end up having to kill both. Straight ahead from where the Knight goes, you'll find your first mobs that'll actually drop the armor. Kill these 2 on either side of the stairs and then run inside and jump the gap where the Mimic used to be. Once you go out this door, there's going to be a large concentration of enemies here. Make sure you try to kill the one with the lantern as quick as you can, of course. But apart from that, try to focus only on the ones that are wearing the armored breastplates. Supposedly these guys are supposed to drop the armor too, but I never found them to drop anything. Don't forget to kill this big guy at the end of the road, and then if you're quick enough you can drop down and get a plunging attack on that shield guy. Then when you turn around there will be another group of hollows waiting for you at the end of the alley here. Do your best to focus on the ones with the crossbows first. If the other guys end up body blocking you, just kill them, don't worry about it too much. After they die, run back up to the bonfire and rest, and then repeat the process till your item drops. Next on our list took me a while to even realize it exists, but it turns out the evangelists in the undead settlement do drop their armor set, and while the bleed spells they cast are miracles, the books don't drop as a talisman unfortunately. The best way to farm the armor set is starting at the dilapidated bridge bonfire. Go straight ahead and turn around when you reach the guy with the giant saw, and up through that building where you'll see an evangelist up on the bridge above you. Leave her alone for now and instead kill this hollow underneath the bridge. She'll usually drop down after that, but in the event she doesn't, you might need to climb the ladder to kill her. You also have a chance to get the spiked mace from farming these. As always, return to the bonfire and repeat until it drops. Moving down the list, we have the Fire Witch armor set. All the Fire Witches are all found in one spot, and that's before Pontiff in Irithyll. Really doesn't look anything like it sounds, to be honest, but hey, as long as it looks cool, why am I complaining? And it does look pretty damn cool. Warp to the Church of Yorshka bonfire, and then take a left right at the main entrance. Your first target is easily plunging attacked right here, but at the time of the recording I was playing a sorcerer, so I went around and hit him with a soul spear instead. Your next kill is going to be up the stairs and to the right. There you'll find a patrol with some Pontiff Knights and another Fire Witch. The route ends there, so you know the drill at this point. Next, unfortunately, is the Grave Warden set. Little more than an ugly set of rags with no redeeming qualities, but if you do happen to want them, the best place to farm them from is the Untended Graves bonfire. Go straight ahead once you warp in and then take a right, and the area will be mostly empty except for this one Grave Warden here. Continue through this archway and your next Grave Warden will be patrolling between the left and right areas. Have fun with your ugly rags, you fashionless heathen. For some reason the Jailer set always makes me giggle with its little pinhead tassel. It drops off the Jailers in Irithyll Dungeon, which definitely don't make me giggle. There's only one bonfire in Irithyll Dungeon you can go, but you don't need to unlock any of the shortcuts to farm this set. Just go straight ahead, and then when you find the first Jailer, make sure you get around to the other side of him. Especially if you're using heavy weapons, you just want to make sure he doesn't fall off the edge or else your route's all borked. Keep running down the hallway and then kill the 2 Jailers on your left. They have ridiculously low poise, so if you're using heavy weapons, make sure you try to attack them against a wall. That way the knockback won't be as severe. It's a pretty easy route, so it shouldn't take you too long to get the Jailer's outfit. The Pontiff Knight armor has a really simple route to follow, but the fight can sometimes catch you off guard. Warp into the central Irithyll bonfire and then go straight ahead up the stairs. Further down the road, you'll get attacked by 3 Pontiff Knights. Focus on the 2 on the right first, since the one carrying the shield doesn't really seem to be very aggressive. When you do fight him, he'll be very vulnerable to block breaks, although it's not necessary. Some sources say the crown part of the set only drops off the Reaper Knight in front of the Pontiff Fog Wall, but I managed to get it just off the regular mobs here. The Lothar Knight set is one of my favorites, and fortunately it's super easy to get. They're one of the harder enemies when you're starting out, but when you come back later, they're much easier. Warp to the Dancer bonfire and then go backwards to where the entrance is. Kill only the 2 Lothar Knights outside and then run right back inside to rest. The Scholar set is another one I was surprised you could actually get, mainly because of how similar it is to the Deacon set. But it does exist, and yes, the wax head is actually a helmet that drops and is permanent. Your warp point's going to be the Grand Archives bonfire, and you're just going to want to go straight ahead and hook a dead left. Climb the stairs, go straight ahead, drop down into the trench, and follow it all the way and avoid the left turn. This will land you in an area with 4 scholars, and only one of them will actually use magic against you. All of them, however, will have a chance to drop the armor set. The wax head tends to be a little bit more rare than the robe, so try to have some patience. The Thrall armor is only one piece, but it's also pretty easy to get. The worker outfit also shares a similar route to farm as the Thrall set, so I'm going to throw that in here as well. Start from the Undead Settlement bonfire and go straight ahead into the building. After you kill the 2 workers guarding the entrance, go down the stairs, take a right, and immediately turn around. One of the Thralls should be jumping down to ambush you. Keep going down the stairs and get some revenge with the plunging attack of your own. Run up ahead over to that dark corner and you'll find another Thrall waiting for you. He'll start shooting you with a blow dart if you don't pay attention to him. The last Thrall should be waiting up on the wall and will jump down when you get close to him. If you want to keep going for the worker set, just keep going straight on ahead. Kill all the workers around the tree in the area up ahead. Try to stay close to the left cliff side, and avoid using fire attacks if possible, since there's a lot of explosive barrels around here. You'll probably end up having to deal with this evangelist before you return to the bonfire, but it's worth it to fulfill your Resident Evil peasant fantasies. Next on our list are Vertebrae Shackles. These are used to rank up in the Moundmaker's Covenant. While it can be really fun to play as this Covenant, trying to rank up in it has proven to be a huge pain in the ass. It only drops off the special Carthus skeletons in the catacombs. Warp to the Abyss Watcher's bonfire and then go straight down the stairs. The first swordsman's going to be walking across the middle of the bridge here. Jump down to this pillar after he's dead, and then down again here as a shortcut. Take a right once you go through the doorway, where you'll get ambushed by a Palpatine skeleton, and when you go through where the illusory wall was, you'll find a Shotel Carthus swordsman. Run through the door to the right of that skeleton, and you'll enter a room where there's 2 Carthus greatsword skeletons. One's hiding behind the stairs usually, so it's pretty easy to isolate them and fight them one at a time. Unless you have a friend to help you farm through PvP, this is the fastest way to get Vertebrae Shackles. I hadn't planned on including weapons in this guide, but since this is the only dual-wielding weapon that drops off a mob, and since it has a pretty badass spin-to-win ability, I thought I'd throw it in there at the end. The Winged Knight twin axes are dropped by any of the Winged Knights wielding them, but you'll only find them using the axes in Lothric Castle. Start at the Lothric Castle bonfire and just go straight ahead. After you kill all the hollow soldiers at the top of the stairs, go into this building right here, where you'll see a ladder up ahead. Approach the ladder to get the Winged Knight to drop down. He'll be stunned for a second, so you can immediately go in for a backstab. They're also weak to backstabs while they're doing this Divine Pillars miracle. These guys can be tough because of their aggressive moveset, but the axes you get from it are well worth it. You know, this is almost worth not mentioning at all, since it's so much easier to farm these through the Covenant itself. But if you have to play the game in offline mode, for whatever reason, you can farm sunlight medals off of the Lothric Knights inside Lothric Castle.